gonna work on you. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah. There's one thought inspired by what you just said, but I think it's going to lead to this next question. So, if you can't see my screen, it says, I support the LGBT community. So this is a question that they are asking this group of people. Mm-hmm. Let's see what some of their responses are.
We're the talk show where we're kicking it and having fun on inspirational radio. We're the talk show, kicking it and having fun. So turn your radio up.
We had a lady, the black lady, all the way over here, and strongly disagree. And then we have two men over here in the disagree portion of it. So let's see what they say.
When we mention support, it means to accept. And I don't accept the lifestyles within the community, but do I love them? Do I want the best for them? I absolutely do. Do I think that we should be mean to them in church? Do I think that we should shun them from church? No, and I'm sorry that you guys had that experience, because that is awful, that is horrible. No one should go to church and away from it.
And no one actually shunned me. It was more like this, more like, I love you, but like God kind of wants to like send you to hell.
I do have Christian friends who are queer or gay, and they're struggling, they're abstaining from the lifestyle, but the LGBTQ community says there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle. They're proud of that status, not remorseful or trying to be aligned with what the Bible says about it.
You are literally picking one part of the Bible that you believe and throwing away everything else. There's like certain materials that we're not supposed to wear. There's certain foods that we're not supposed to eat, but we don't discriminate against people who do that. But we do discriminate against people who literally just love someone different.
If you're gonna disagree with it, you also have to understand like the weight of what you are asking a queer person to do. When you look at someone and you feel like they're attractive and you have to disagree with that part of yourself every second of the day, you have to tell yourself, that's freaking wrong, that's freaking wrong. At like every second, like you don't think that I should not marry a woman that I love?
I'm not saying you should be alone. I'm saying at the basis of anything, I want you to be who God created you to be. And I know that for you, you're believing that I was created this way to love this way. But I would actually wonder, because you're like, well, I want to love who I want to love. There's that attraction. But it's like, where do you draw the line? When I'm a grown man, I like little boys. I am a person, and I know that you don't agree with that, but there are lines, because if we go by how we...
You know that's not the same
I know you don't agree with that, and I know that it is the same.
I think the LGBT is like...
All right, so I'm gonna stop there. Again, y'all wanna hear the rest of that part, you definitely click on the link and review it. But a couple of, tidbits in that for me. When she touched on the point that both of you guys brought up, that there's plenty of sin in the Bible. Like if we're going strictly by what the Bible says, especially the rules in Leviticus and things like that are derivatives from commandments and things like that. A lot of us would be struggling, right? And I do hear that as a reason for a lot of people from the LGBT community to feel comfortable with that. Now, what I would say in response to what the lady said before, like when she was kind of describing in her head how she mentally, desires something, but can't have it, and we don't understand the weight of that, I have to disagree with her on that, because I'm a man, right? And, the Bible says don't fornicate. And if I see a beautiful woman, you know what I mean? I gotta fight the temptation to do something that God doesn't want me to do, right? It's in my nature to wanna be with a woman, you know what I mean? But I can't just go around and be with any woman I want, especially now that I'm married, and especially because God says it's not a good thing. So, I want people to know from that community that I think they feel like what they're struggling with is something separate, but I think we all have something in us.
Oh God, yes.
That, is a temptation or a struggle or whatever that, we have to abstain from, It's not, I don't think that's should be a foreign concept with us as Christians. So I thought that was interesting when she said that.
Yeah, the fight is real because I'm a Christian and I love God with everything in me, but some of that bloodline stuff, then the quick temper popping off quick, stuff happen quick, it's a fight. It's like you make me mad on the wrong day. It's not going good, and it's like I'm getting better over time. I don't know if it's time or spending time with God, but I'm conscious and I'm aware of it. But it don't mean it's not a fight when certain situations present itself. It's like, okay, I have to talk myself off the ledge. I feel like, calm down. There's no reason to give that much energy. It's not that important. It's a real talk. It's a real fight. So it's like, okay, it's getting easier over time, but the fight be real. And it's like, and it's for real. And this is, so anybody that say they don't have struggles, you must be numb. Because everybody got some, because these bloodlines be jacked up, man. I'm telling you, whatever your forefathers got into, you didn't hear this stuff. It ain't even you, but you got to fight it off.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, and I think that's super key. Because you said it earlier, right? With the last question, a lot of people present being a believer or being a Christian as you accept, Jesus in your life, and then automatically all the feelings, all the emotions, all the things you want to do just disappears. And, for some things that might be the case, but for some things that's not the case,
Mm-hmm.
And like you just described, over the years, the closer you get to God, and that's why that relationship to me is so key.
It is.
Because I do remember struggling, like when you're in a religious environment, and I've said this before, like normally what a religious environment does that I see or witness it do is make people hide what they struggling with, right? Because you don't want nobody in that environment to figure out like, ooh, I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that, because you feel like you're gonna get shunned, you're gonna get kicked out, you're gonna, people ain't gonna like you. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be accepted, right? Where when I realized that having a relationship with God, when I say, God, like, I'm struggling with this. Like, I don't know how to let go of this. And I don't want to keep disappointing you with that. Like, when you start having those type of discussions with God and you see over time how that desire, that thirst dies down, I'm not going to say it's ever going to completely go away. Maybe it will. The Bible says I'll be delivered. And some say that's when you're dead and whatever, but whatever that is, it's on his timing. And to your point, Lasagna, if anybody is saying that they don't struggle with anything,
they dead or they know.
I done lived life long enough to know that to not be true. So
yes, sir.
What did you guys think when the lady was explaining, she doesn't agree with homosexuality or being gay, but she still loves, the person, and she doesn't agree with them being, not accepted in church and things like that. And then the lady who was queer, she kind of responded like, that's actually more what she deals with there. And then I think she made the statement of but you're saying you love me, but you're still trying to send me to hell or something like that. Did y'all have any thoughts on that interaction that happened there?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult at that point because, she's feeling really strongly about what she's been through, and it's personal for her. And the other lady is just talking in general, and that's where the clash a lot of times, and that's where the clash a lot of times happens, is when somebody is speaking, hey, overall, this is what I think about this topic or this situation, and it's, then got real for somebody else. And now they don't see it eye to eye. And it's hard for them to, because it's not personal to the lady that's saying, you're still human beings. But the other lady was like, no, I'm not getting treated like that. I'm getting treated like Scourge.
Like the Scourge.
Yeah. Scum of the earth.
A pirate term. A pirate term there.
We have to, stretch ourselves. You feel me?
I think for me, it's the balance in between, right? So on one hand, I would say maybe there's some conviction from the queer lady's part, where maybe, she feels a little conviction there. And then on the other hand, some of us do come off very judgmental. We do say, hey, you're gonna go to hell, for this if you don't change this way, today. And, both of those I think are counterproductive in this person getting to know, having, a true relationship with God. Because, for me, what I do realize, like I articulated earlier, is the closer that I feel like me personally I got with God, the more these things that I struggled with internally started to subside or get better, or I started getting strength or muscles to resist those things. You know what I mean? And I can't say it was under my own strength, but it's the closeness to God that I think gives us the strength to do that, or even the will to do it. The fact that the lady has some conviction with it, and that's why I brought up that point first, tells me that, probably in her heart of hearts, like there's going to be, God is convicting the man. I hear, whether he says it, said it flat out, like the fact that he's like, oh, I don't know, I'm going to be accepted and, all of these different things. That's part of that is conviction. You know what I mean? Where the stuff that you're doing might not line, or is not lining up with what God is saying about you.
That's true. Because we're never going to make God come down to our level. We're going to have to come up to his standards.
Right.
And the word is the word, and we all fall short. That's why Christ died, so we can come up. But we cannot make excuses, to fit our situations. We all just need to strive to do better. That's just the bottom line. And say, God, help me hate, love what you love, and whatever in me is prone to like what you hate, remove that from me, and help me be the best version of me you created me to be. And it may take the rest of my life to get it right, but I'm willing to put the time in and the work in, but I'm not going to make up a standard by which the word got to come down. The word is never coming down. All people just got to come up. But loving, mistreating people is never okay. Mistreating people, because we all would get mistreated if that was the case. Because he could point his finger at any of us and see something. So mistreating people, throwing people away, that's never going to be God's heart.